They're anxious. They're anxious dogs. Hello. How's that? Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hello.
Welcome to Bible Prophecy and Truth. My name is Dan. I'm the author of BibleProphecyandTruth.com. This is my wife, Colleen, co-hosting and chat moderating, and our sister in Christ, Diane, from Minnesota via Zoom. We're going to talk about the Catholic Church and how the Catholic Church will submit to Islam in the end time, during the reign of the Antichrist, and basically complete their interfaith agenda. So it should be very interesting, plus some current news on what's going on in the world. So welcome.
Yes. So give a big thumbs up. Big thumbs up. And make sure you turn on your notification bell so you do not miss any great uploads. But also remember, hi, Jody. Remember that if you're on YouTube, make sure you have subscribed, okay? And thumbs up, of course. If you're on Rumble right now, please make sure you have followed us. I want you to share this video or I'll tell you what, go over into one of our libraries, watch the banner. There's libraries down there. We're on Rumble, we're on YouTube. Go to videos.prophecyandtruth.com, videos.prophecyandtruth.com, and look at those videos. Just on the first page, look at those videos, and then pick one, share the URL, and put it on your Facebook. Send it to somebody's phone. Grandma.
Help us reach more people.
Yes, and share a video. Just share any video. If people don't like long podcasts, that's okay. Go to one of our libraries and pick a short, because there's all kinds of shorts that are just like 5 minutes long, or there's 15 minutes long. And just pick something and share and get this message out. And do that right now.
That being said, let's get into it.
Hey, what happened? Oh.
So I'm going to share for Diane. And like I said,
we got to get rid of this.
I'm going to talk about, we'll put the banner and the QR code back up at the end. Has all of our channels, my email. The QR code goes directly to the video site. But we're going to talk about what's going to happen with Catholics in the end time. Because if you know what the Catholic Church teaches today, is they're pushing interfaithism, just shoving it down people's throats, this whole interfaith doctrine. And we have to remember that Islam is only playing along so that they can gain more power and gain more people. Islam does not believe in interfaithism. Islam does not believe in coexisting. Islam only, the doctrine of Islam is that Islam is the only true religion, and that all other infidels must either convert or be killed. I mean, that's the doctrine of Islam. They do not believe in interfaithism, but they kind of go along with the Vatican because that way they get more people that think Islam is okay. And what's going to happen in the end is, because the Vatican teaches interfaithism, that it's the same thing to be a Muslim as it is to be a Christian, according to the Catholic Church. So all of the, when the Islamic Antichrist rises to power, and you either convert and, take the mark and, worship him, or die. Well, if you believe in interfaithism, what are you going to do? well, okay, I'll convert because I can be a Muslim and still be saved. That's the power of this lie of Satan.
Yeah.
Is that if you believe that, you'll just convert to Islam.
Hi, Lainey.
Hey, Lainey, welcome, sister. So, I mean, why wouldn't you, right? And there's so many churches that are following right in line with the Vatican on that. You know, that's, I remember, and I've talked about this before, but I remember, you know, it was 20 years ago, pretty close to 20 years ago, I was talking to my brother about true Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And he started screaming and yelling at me about how, you know, all religions worship the same God. And he calls himself a Christian. You know, that's where I've been for the last 20 years, is talking to people about this. Many people believe the same way my brother does. You know, their church teaches that. You know, the big mega churches are all teaching that. And it's a very, very powerful, when we talk about the power and signs and lying wonders of Satan, you can see the power of this lie, the interfaith lie. The power of that is it will drag people right into hell. This lie. And so why do I say there, you know, Catholic Muslims will coexist? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Muslims will be Catholics. I'm saying Catholics will be Muslims, because that's the interfaith lie. That's the interfaithism that they teach, that you can be a Muslim and still be saved. So why not be a Muslim according to that? And that's when you see the false prophet, which, you know, everybody used to think it was going to be Pope Francis, but now, you know,
Now it's
of course, Pope Leo is following exactly in the footsteps of Pope Francis on the interfaith, and, you know, all of those things, the New World Order, everything that Pope Francis was working, Pope Leo's doing the exact same thing. So in this document, I talk about Francis, but just replace it with Leo because it just fits anyway. But you know that, and it's Article 841 of the Catechism, right? Muslims worship the same God that we do and will enjoy the same salvation. And this is one of the most powerful lies of Satan, because it's infected the church. It's infected the Catholic Church and denominations galore that believe this. And like I said, you know, Muslims do not believe in interfaithism. They'll only go along with, in fact, Muslims will tell you they believe in Jesus just to try to pacify you. But then if you ask them what they believe about Jesus, you'll find out that it's like, I did a study on the Muslim Jesus a little while ago. You know, you find out that their Jesus is not the Jesus of the Bible by any stretch. It's a completely false Jesus that they say they believe in. And that's the Muslim prophecies of the end times, the last day, that Jesus will return and teach that he will break the cross and teach these poor misguided Christians that he's not really the Son of God. He's not a deity. He was just a prophet. And that's the prophecy of Islam that Satan has set up. So when we look at what Satan set up and the prophecies of the Bible and everything that's going on in the world right now, and then, you know, if we look at Daniel 2, for example, you know, we see the statue with the 5 sections, and we see that in the end, there's going to be this stone that's cut out of the mountain without hands, and it'll break the statue in pieces and it consume all the kingdoms, right? And in the days of these kings, it says, that God will set up a kingdom, right? This is the return of Jesus Christ. The stone is a representation of Jesus Christ, destroying the governments of men and establishing the kingdom of God. And it's the fifth section, the feet and toes of iron and clay that are these kings that it's talking about here. It's that fifth section that will be in power when Jesus returns. And we see the same thing in Daniel 7 with the four beasts. But the four beasts, remember, all exist at the time of the end. And the fourth beast is going to be destroyed, but the other three kingdoms will remain. And because it says, as concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away. That's Christ taking the governments of men away from men and ruling himself. He puts down the governments of men. He takes their dominion away, but their lives are prolonged for a season and a time, which is the 1,000-year reign of Christ. So I'll show you another representation of this on BibleProphecyandTruth.com under Biblical Prophecy, chapter 7, Prophecy in the Present Times.
Hi, Roger. Welcome.
Hey, Roger. Welcome, brother.
Thanks for doing
this. And you're welcome. I praise God that they have the ability to do so, and that He's led me to this. So thank you.
He's returning. Yeah. Roger's been here before.
Yeah, Roger. Aaron, thank you. So this is kind of a representation, and visuals just help everybody, right? If you see it, it just becomes more clear. And when you look at the Holy Roman Empire, and then look at the EU, and it's virtually the same area. If you look at the Islamic Ottoman Empire at its peak, and then look at the Arab League, it's the same. And when you combine them, this is the focus of prophetic focus in the Bible, is this right here, right? Israel.
Maybe we'll be okay. I'm not saying perfectly fine. I'm just saying that maybe the United States will be one of the wars that they're
hopefully
fighting.
The U.S. will be one holding out. Yes.
But
I like to show this map because it helps us to visualize Daniel 2, right? Because in Daniel 2, we have the fifth section, the feet and toes of part iron and part clay. And, they'll mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they'll not cleave to one another as iron is not mingled with clay. In the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom. This is when Christ returns. And so when we see that, and we see this is the fifth section of that statue, right? The Holy Roman Empire and the Islamic Empire combined. And when we see the EU and the Arab League, tell me what's happening in Europe right now.
Muslims have taken over.
What isn't happening in Europe right now?
That's fast becoming an Islamic union, literally.
But is the UK, have they made a decision to help in the Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah.
He said something
and I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the UK and other countries have capitulated. They refused at first, but then Trump's going to play hardball. So they're like, oh, okay.
And I think France is, but I think Trump says, well, I don't really care. We don't need them. And now they've changed their minds. Yeah. So what? We need them?
Well, what he wants them for is to help with the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, to help. Right. He just wants their military to help.
So, but I'm going to talk about all that new stuff.
I'm happy about that, though. Yeah, really, because we need our economy back.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But so the Catholic Muslims that I'm talking about, when we look at the Catholic Church, and this is, Islam does not believe in interfaithism. They believe in lying and smiling in your face while they lie to you through the doctrine of taqiyya. And, if you don't know what that is, if you go to the Catholic Muslims newsletter, you can search for that or just see where I went when I got to this. There's this link here on taqiyya. You can learn about it. It's an actual doctrine in Islam that it's not only okay to lie.
Well, I've heard them talk about it.
Yeah,
I've heard Muslims talk about it.
It's not only okay to lie, but it's actually a directive that you should lie to assist in the ascendancy of Islam. Yeah,
they're proud of it.
This is the real Islam, right? Domination, world domination, jihad, death to Israel and America. You can't coexist with people who want to kill you, right? How do you do that? You can't. And then I've shown this before, the 3 phases of Muslim immigration, right? This is where the United States is right now, phase 1. Europe is in phase 2, where they're a large minority, they're indignant, they're threatening, they're demanding Sharia law, they're intolerant. All of this is happening in Europe right now.
They're very close to phase 3.
Yeah, they're coming to phase 3.
They're taking
soon.
the British flags down and replacing them with Islamic.
Right. And so when you see the lion in Daniel 7, right? And you see how the lion, the bear, and the leopard join with the 10-horned beast, which is the 10 Islamic nations that lift up the Antichrist as their Mahdi. You can see how Great Britain will certainly join up with them. That's a given. And then Germany's right behind. Yeah. Germany is fast becoming a Muslim nation.
And look at Putin is so much very supportive of Iran. Yeah. I can see that happening too.
Yeah. People aren't coming back from these other countries. Americans, I haven't heard anything about them coming back to the United States because Europe is so full of Muslims or something.
Yeah. Maybe we just haven't heard about it.
We've seen lots of videos and testimonies of people. In fact, I showed one just like a week ago of a woman talking about how Europe and specifically the UK is it's not even the same country anymore.
I've heard a lot of British people really complaining about what's happening. Yeah, but I haven't heard of any Americans that are coming back home or anything. Yeah, I haven't heard that.
But this is what's happening, and this is how it will go, right? And especially, the Antichrist is going to use the devastation of the 6th trumpet almost certainly as his stepping stone to power. So the world after the 6th trumpet war is going to be clamoring for a savior. And he will step up to be that man. And he'll have the power of Satan behind him. And, I have to ask, right? Do people understand that Satan has already fooled the majority of the world? He's got 99% of the world, 99.9% of the world utterly deceived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Very few
completely.
People.
Yeah. There's so few that really love Jesus, that really understand the truth. And there's so many fake Christians. And I don't even include Catholicism in that because they call themselves Christians, but they're not. They're Catholics. And even a Catholic will say, no, we're Catholic. And
they don't call themselves Christians.
But they do claim to be Christian. And, but it's them and all of the Protestants are all just churchians. That's all they are. Catholic churchianity. That's all it is. And they don't really love Jesus. They don't study and read the word of God and seek to please him and follow him in obedience as is his command, and they're all going to be they're already utterly deceived by Satan in this false Christianity, thinking they're saved. But then what has Satan got set up for, the future? he's created false prophecies in Islam, Catholicism. Many religions have all kinds of weird ideas of what the future holds, but Islam and Catholicism both have mirrored prophecy that mirrors the Bible, but the exact opposite. And I've got a link to the what I call the Great Lie, where it's literally prophecy after prophecy after prophecy about the Antichrist and the false prophet are mirrored in Islam and in Catholicism, where it's the Mahdi and the Muslim Jesus in Islam and the great monarch and the final glorious Pope in Catholicism. And they're the good guys of those religions, but the Antichrist and the false prophet of the Bible. And so when this happens, and we know this is going to happen, we know it's going to happen. There's no doubt whatsoever that it's going to happen. And the Antichrist is going to, replace Pope Francis with Pope Leo, because I'm sure we'll see Pope Leo doing the exact same thing, where he's going into a mosque and doing that, right?
Yeah.
And he's inviting Muslims into the Vatican, and he's, promoting this whole
He actually
interfaithism.
did that?
Yeah, Pope Francis
Oh,
did
yeah.
that. Pope Francis
Yeah, he did.
prayed in November 2014. That's this article that I've got linked here, where he prayed in the Blue Mosque in Istanbul. Yeah. And he did that.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, here's the catechism, right? Article 841, the church's relationship with the Muslims. The plan of salvation also includes those who acknowledge the Creator, in the first place amongst whom are the Muslims. These profess to hold the faith of Abraham, and together with us they adore the one merciful God, mankind's judge on the last day.
Yeah, he is going to be
So,
judging y'all.
This is a very powerful lie of Satan. And if you believe that lie, if you believe the interfaith lie, you're going to join with the Antichrist when he takes over the world. You're going to.
Mhm.
There's no doubt in my mind that you will join with him, because, well, I might as well just become a Muslim and then I can save my life, right? I don't want to get my head cut off. But, and we know that this is an absolute lie, right? Jesus said, this is what I'm talking about here is Muslims say you don't need to believe in Jesus to be saved. They say they believe in Jesus, but it's not the Jesus of the Bible. But, what does the Bible say? Jesus said that he was the Son of God.
Yeah.
He said, are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed? Jesus said, I am, and that Muslims will argue with you that he never said those things, but all you have to do is just read it in the Bible.
Well, no, I've
did.
literally heard Muslims say they just believe that they believe that Jesus was a real person, like it was
Right.
real person,
He was just a
but they do
prophet
not
or
believe
something.
that he rose again.
Right.
So let alone go into heaven, and that they just believe that he was a prophet and
Right.
and a very good
Yeah.
man. That's what they say.
Which doesn't even make sense, because if he was a true prophet, then
They should be
then
listeing to him.
he
right?
was a
'Cause
liar if he was a true prophet.
Yeah.
Because
but that's
Yeah.
that's for our benefit, though, that they say that. They don't
because
really believe that.
yeah, because the words of Jesus go against what the Muslims say he said. And so if he was a true prophet in Islam, then he's saying things that they don't believe. So how does that even make sense if he was a true prophet? It doesn't. There's no salvation any other. It just doesn't even make sense. But they'll say that. And the only reason they say that is because of
us.
taqiyya.
Yeah.
Right.
It's to get us to pacify
To
us,
trust them.
to get us to just stop arguing with them. Yeah. Oh, we believe in Jesus. Yeah. But it's a lie. And then, the Catholic Church is even saying that Jesus is not the Jesus of the Bible because, oh, look, the Muslim Jesus provides common ground for Christianity and Islam.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know what the Muslims believe about Jesus, you know that it's not the Jesus of the Bible. So the Catholic Church saying this is utter blasphemy.
Yeah, should
Yeah.
be, right?
And then, of course, the Muslims are taught to hate Jesus. You know, the most awful name in Allah's sight on the day of resurrection will be that of a man calling himself the King of Kings, who is Jesus Christ, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. But they don't seem to care. You know, Pope Francis really thought he was the prophesied final pope. Of course, he wasn't.
He was wrong.
But, you know, just put Pope Leo in there because he's doing exactly the same thing and probably believes the same thing that Francis did, that he is that final glorious pope. We'll see, of course, just like I always used to say about Francis, we'll see if he ends up being this. He didn't. And maybe Leo won't be either. Maybe there'll be another pope that takes over. Maybe something will happen.
How old is
Anything.
Pope Leo? Do you know?
70.
He's
older
not
than that.
nearly as old. He's only in his 70s. Yeah. So he's got a while. But so, you know, when we look at all these things and we look at the prophecies of the Bible and then look at what's happening, you know, here's the interfaith temple that Francis built, right? Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. You know, the three temples side by side. You know, this is a very powerful lie of
70.
Satan.
He's 70.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's still pretty
I
young
wonder
considering.
I wonder if these temples are even being used.
Well, I know
Yeah.
that they're built now. This is a model, but I know that they've been built. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
they
that they have
occupy.
stuff going on in them. I'm sure they're parading around the grounds constantly, having visitors, and I'm certain of it.
Tours.
Yeah, I'm certain of it.
Where is it at?
Abu Dhabi.
Dubai.
Yeah.
Oh, Abu Dhabi.
Dhabi.
Yeah. Will Pope Francis be the false prophet? No, he wasn't. But just insert Leo.
Yeah, just insert.
And we're still there pretty much. The fifth section, right? This is what I'm showing you, right? This is the prophecies of the Bible show that this section will be in power when Jesus returns. And it's been since 600 AD that Muhammad created Islam. 800 AD that the Holy Roman Empire was brought into being when Pope Leo? I think it might have been Pope Leo that crowned Charlemagne. Way
Pope
back
Leo,
in 800 and created the Holy Roman Empire. So, I mean, this is we know this is going to happen. So when I say Catholic Muslims will coexist, what I mean is that when the Antichrist takes over and he takes over the world and it's a Muslim Antichrist with a Muslim religion that you must convert and join his new world order and take his mark or die, everyone, especially Catholics will be the first ones to turn Muslim and join with the Antichrist because that's what they believe. They believe that being a Catholic and a Muslim is the same thing. Muslims do not believe that. You won't see a union of Catholicism and Islam. You'll see a submission of Catholicism to Islam.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to happen. You know, I can't say that with absolute certainty. I can't tell you that this is a fact because it has not happened yet.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can't say what prophecy is before it comes to pass and say it's a fact. So I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I believe it 100%. And when I look at all the prophecies of the Bible and I look at what's happening in the world right now, and I understand that the Muslim Mahdi will be the king that creates the 10-horned beast of Daniel 7 that joins with the other 3 beasts in Revelation 13 and takes over the world as the Antichrist. I know that for a fact. I'm just waiting for it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I wanted to show y'all today is this, the Catholic Church is going to submit to Islam because that will be the conclusion of their interfaith movement. Right? They want to join the entire world together under one religion. In fact, that's part of the prophecies of Catholicism of the last day, is that there will be this just war to drive out the apostates and this final glorious religion will be created. And that's exactly what's going to happen in the 6th trumpet of the Bible, a war.
Holy war?
Well, it'll be a war that destroys a third part of mankind. And it probably will, if China's involved, it won't really be a holy war.
Yeah.
Because it will just be
They say that's what's going
communism.
on right now with this Iran
The holy
thing.
war.
It's a holy war.
Yeah.
Because they want to destroy Israel.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
It's like Islam versus Judaism, maybe.
But that's what, the Vatican's trying to glue all that together. And it'll happen under the Antichrist when Leo or the next Pope creates this union with this man, this Muslim man who declares himself the Mahdi of Islam and joins up as he's going to be a secondary prominent figure that supports the Mahdi in Islam, right? So it's not going to be a union. It's going to be the Antichrist is the absolute ruler, and the false prophet is this religious leader that causes the world to worship him, as the Bible says. So, I hope that I've helped someone at least understand this maybe better than they used to. Understanding what interfaithism is doing, the power of that lie, and what it's going to do in the last day. When the Antichrist takes over the world, billions of people are just going to swear allegiance to him, take the mark, and become a Muslim because why not? Right? If it's going to save your own skin, why not?
Save your family.
Yeah.
When the sun goes down.
When the sun goes down, welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
I did not see Netanyahu say those words. Said it live in an interview yesterday. I'm going to look that up. Thank you.
What is it?
Netanyahu said that Jesus isn't the answer to Israel. So, well, of course, Jews that don't believe in Jesus, are waiting.
Wow.
They're awaiting their Moshiach, right? They're awaiting their Messiah.
Yeah. But is Netanyahu waiting for that? Because he's not even
he doesn't practice Judaism. So why is he even saying those things?
I know.
Yeah. But
thank
I'm
you
have
for
to
that.
Look for that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that information. Yeah, we will have to look that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he never claims he's not a messianic.
He's not a religious man.
No, he's not.
He's not
and he's certainly not a Jesus follower. So.
No, he's not a messianic Jew by any stretch either. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when he's saying that
openly,
they
said.
Ooh. Yeah. So, like I said, I hope that I've helped. If you're new to this channel and you want to see this for yourself, if you go to BibleProphecyandTruth.com, if you go under now you can just use the search tool and search for Catholic Muslims and you'll find it, but you can go to the newsletters archive and search here for Catholic Muslims, and you'll see this article that I was looking at.
That's a new one, a Catholic Muslim.
Also on videos.prophecyandtruth.com. I believe you can find that here as well, because I did a video on it.
That's like saying a
I've got so many articles.
Christianity. It's like,
I know,
no, those two things do not go
contradiction.
together.
It's a contradiction in
It
terms.
is.
Yeah.
I call it an oxymoron.
Why don't I see this on my menu? That's weird. Catholic Muslims, because I know I have it. In fact, it's right on the main page. If you were to scroll down to the false religions part of this page, where what is a false religion? There's the video right there. Catholic Muslims will coexist. So I'm gonna have to figure out why it's not on my menu, or maybe I'm just blind. One or the other. I don't know. Anyway, it's there on the main page. So that being said, I'm going to switch gears now, and we'll talk about the Strait of Hormuz and what's going on with Europe and all that.
Oh yeah, look at the weather.
But one of the things we always talk about on this show is, when is the end of the world? The signs that Jesus gave that would herald his coming. And if you have not seen this, let me show you this as well. If you go to BibleProphecyandTruth.com, and on the main page, just scroll about 2/3 of the way down to where you see this picture. I have an article, videos, a playlist that Diane did that shows a video for every one of the signs. I talk about the question Jesus was answering was, what shall be the signs of your coming and the end of the world? Mm-hmm. And, he said this, when you see these signs, this generation shall not pass away. So the generation alive when these signs appear will not grow old and die before the end of the world.
Okay.
When the sun goes down, welcome and glad to see you here. If you have to go, God bless you.
Yeah, thank you for showing up, though.
Yeah.
Appreciate you being here.
And I appreciate that email. I will check it out after the show.
Yes. Great.
But if you haven't seen this article, definitely check it out. All of the signs that Jesus gave are literally coming to pass as we speak. And one of the things that we talk about, of course, is earthquakes, because that's part of the signs, is great earthquakes in diverse places. And, we had 2,266 earthquakes in the last 7 days. We're well on track for well over 100,000 earthquakes again this year.
And then Tonga, they were hit twice. Ooh.
Yeah, a 6.3 and a 6.2. Yeah, in the same place there.
Where is that? Where's that?
That's right here. It's
hit twice.
East of Australia there. Yeah, and we had a couple of 6.6s.
South Shetland.
Yeah, this one's in the Mid-Atlantic, and then this one is down below South America here.
Wow.
But just, earthquakes going nuts these days. Mm-hmm. And, definitely a massive spike in the last few decades. And, when you look at this article, you'll see that it's literally from around 1960-ish.
This generation.
That everything started spiking. The earthquakes, the storms, solar storms, the uptick in frequency and intensity of hurricanes and cyclones and just natural disasters, just everything literally is spiking. And like you said, this generation. And one of the things that we watch is, when Jesus said signs in the heavens, we have to remember that the heavens are
atmosphere,
everything from the surface of the earth and outward, including the entire universe, is the heavens.
Yeah.
It's the layers of firmament that God created when he created all things. in Genesis chapter 1. And part of it is the Earth's atmosphere. It says specifically in Genesis that, there's a layer of the firmament is the one that the birds fly in, which is the heavens. It's part of the heavens. It's one of the layers. And so when we talk about signs in the heavens, and we look at the last couple of years, every season we've had record-breaking summer storms, record-breaking winter storms, record-breaking summer storms, record-breaking winter storms. And then look what's happening this year. It's insane. And I'm going to play the first couple of minutes of this from Max Velocity.
Yeah, he always says, I've never seen this. You're only 22, first of all.
Well, but he's also talking about researching past, right?
Yeah, I know.
But check this out, because this is just,
I've never seen this before.
A surprise storm and a major weather pattern flip are coming, and they will knock your socks off. A dangerous summer-like heat wave is developing right now, shattering hundreds of temperature records nationwide. But this heat dome will come with consequences. A new storm threat is emerging across the Midwest and East Coast, bringing a risk of severe weather tomorrow, including very large hail, damaging winds, and a tornado threat. Then later this week, a more powerful storm system is likely to develop, potentially bringing a more significant severe weather risk. There's a lot to unpack, so let's get right into the forecast. And we have a lot of crazy stuff to talk about in today's forecast. And one of those things is this major heat wave that is impacting nearly the entire country. This is shattering records across the western and central United States right now. We have this really intense ridge that is built across the desert Southwest, and above that is our jet stream. It is very far off to the north for this time of the year, and this type of setup leads to major heat waves. We typically see something like this in the month of April or May. This is coming very early, though, and we are talking about upwards of 90s to even 100s in some parts of the United States. Even some areas near Phoenix, Arizona, back over towards Mecca in California are approaching 110 degrees for today. That is insanity for the month of March. In fact, that is near the record-breaking high temperature that we've ever seen anywhere in the United States in the month of March or April. So we have really high temperatures happening right now. Unfortunately, this heat wave will last throughout the rest of today. However, as we go into tomorrow, we have a big weather pattern flip that is about to impact almost the entire central and eastern United States. A low pressure system is going to form back over in the northeast, and a pretty strong cold front is going to sweep across the central plains, Midwest, and the Ohio Valley. This is not all about the temperatures, though, because we do have a new risk of severe weather that we are monitoring for tomorrow, which could include large hail, damaging winds, and even a couple of tornadoes. And it looks actually pretty dangerous when it comes to the severe weather setup, and we'll talk more about that here in a moment. Once we head into Monday into Tuesday, that storm system, which is coming out of Canada, will eventually move offshore, and that storm system is going to pull a lot of cold air on the back side of it along the East Coast. Meanwhile,
I'm not going to play the whole thing, but notice that record breaks, just smashing records.
For 90s and the homeless.
And then right behind it, this cold front coming in again, where we've had some major record cold this winter already.
Sleet.
And it's just insane what's happening.
Yeah, it's how a week ago we got like a foot of snow, and then yesterday it was predicted to get up into the high 70s, but it probably got up to like 65, but still it was just crazy.
That's
it was
insane.
Beautiful, I bet, for you.
Cool today, and now tomorrow like 71. So it's like every other day.
Wow. Which is just weird. Yeah.
Isn't it nice when you go outside and you're like, wow, it actually feels kind of warm out.
Oh, it was beautiful. That's why that bird didn't even chirp at me. He just sat there looking at me like, I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just sign after sign after sign, everything that Jesus said. And remember, Jesus said that men's hearts will be failing them for fear, because of the things happening on the earth.
Like, what about the meteor that hit Ohio? You're going to talk about that?
Yeah. No, there was a meteor that hit
Ohio.
People heard a loud booming sound. Yeah.
Whoa! And, I didn't hear about that.
It was. I didn't really feel it was that significant, but I mean, because there are meteors that hit now and then. But yeah, it was one that was heard. It was very loud, and people were wondering what it was.
If it hit in where I live, I'm gonna be talking about it.
Yeah. But as far as biblical significance, I didn't really.
Oh wow!
I didn't think of it. but it happened. Yes. So thanks for bringing it up. Another thing that, I bring this up from time to time. Thank you, darling. I bring this up from time to time because there's just constantly new information coming out about this. And that was, I don't know, 3 years ago when we started doing these lives, we were warning people about the vaccine. We were getting videos deleted from YouTube and getting dings and threats of being banned from YouTube because I was talking about the vaccine and how, my daughter got
two shots.
Myocarditis. Sorry. She had to get the vaccine for a job and got myocarditis from the shot. And the doctor that she went to even said that it was from the vaccine. And here we see,
and that's in California.
Yeah, it was in California. And then when we see here after the fact, right, a peer-reviewed Oxford study of over 500,000 children found myocarditis and pericarditis occurred exclusively in vaccinated groups. So children are getting heart disease from this vaccine. And, that when Jesus said pestilences.
That's fine, Lainey. Love you.
Love you too. Yeah. God bless you, Lainey. I was reading Lainey Riley, and so it came out Rainey. Sorry, Lainey. God bless you, sister. So this, the only reason I bring this up again is because when Jesus said that there will be pestilences, he didn't say that they were going to be naturally occurring. He just said there would be pestilences. And things like this, even COVID was said to have been manufactured by man. And, the vaccine is certainly a man manufactured thing that's, mRNA is, what do they think they're playing with here? This is very dangerous what they're doing. And we have to remember what Bill Gates was working on 10 years ago, 15 years ago now, where he was literally saying that they could use vaccines to reduce the population. So let's, and then after COVID, Gates was saying, well, it didn't work out quite as well as we'd hoped, because they were hoping to cull a whole lot more of humankind than they did. It's horrible what they're doing. It's literally terrifying what they're doing. And I just bring this up because it's important for people to educate themselves. If a new pandemic comes out and they've suddenly got a vaccine for it, I would be very, very, very cautious of doing anything if I were you. So
because
they say there's something
for them to just suddenly come out with a COVID vaccine, just boom, we need a vaccine. Okay. And then they give it to you tomorrow. It's like,
I know.
Well, I asked for it, but I didn't think we're going to get it for another few years.
Yeah, because usually it takes a lot of study and a lot of testing. 9 months.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, right? You make your own decisions, but it's proven now, beyond any doubt that the COVID vaccine actually killed more people than COVID did. So that's a fact today. Moving on now. So on to current news and what's happening in the world and biblical prophecy. Why is this war with Iran significant in biblical prophecy? Well, because we are expecting a sixth trumpet war. We're expecting this war to happen. We're also expecting the confirmation of the covenant. And this could tie into both of those potentially.
Who knows?
Where this conflict could end up being what forces all or gives all of the Muslim nations the inclination to sign a peace treaty with Israel. And And or maybe even if this becomes more explosive, they may just force a two-state solution, which most of the world wants to do anyway, and would draw the borders of Israel. And the war, I've always said that Iran might just be the spark that lights the nuclear fire for the sixth trumpet. And with China, China's really, really, really hurting because of this. And
because of the oil.
And when you look at the sixth trumpet, the 200 million man army is almost certainly China when that happens. And what's happening right now is if China just lets this go, that it could mean a huge step backwards for China. And remember, China has a 100-year plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The 100-year plan of China was for China to rule the world at the end of 100 years. And they're about 80 years in right now. And they're thinking of escalating that plan because things aren't working out so well. And especially now with Trump going after China through Venezuela and Iran, China is being backed into a corner. So they're providing drones to Iran right now. They're freaking out, according to Dan Bongino. And I was going to play this. It's just a couple minute clip, but if you've listened to Dan Bongino, you know that some of his language is not so good. He tends to swear a lot, so I decided not to play it. But what's happening in China through all of this is their infrastructure, not their infrastructure, but their economic base is crumbling big time. And what Trump is doing with gas is destroying the BRICS initiative of China. Which China really wants BRICS to take off to get rid of the US currency as the world currency. And this is destroying BRICS, especially since now the United States is talking to Russia about buying oil and using US dollars and moving away from BRICS. It's China is literally freaking out because of this. All of their plans are being utterly destroyed. So
I don't get what you mean by America is the number one
the currency.
Yeah, since every country has their own.
Well, it's the petrodollar. It's the petrodollar, and everything in trade ends up going
American
through the US dollar. Yeah. They have their own currencies, but it's exchange rates that matter. And it's the US dollar is really the basis for world currency. And
but the American dollar was really bad for a while. I don't know what it is now.
Yeah, I haven't looked.
Well, Trump is trying to keep it strong.
Yeah, and that's what China is trying through BRICS. China's trying to change that with BRICS. They're trying to create a new currency to replace the petrodollar, the US dollar, and a new currency to use instead. And that's what the BRICS
to make America weaker.
Right. Because China's trying to bring America down. Yeah.
We have a lot of enemies. We're still, the most powerful nation in the world. However, we have a lot of enemies.
And it could change.
That's what happens when you're the best. There's going to be people who are going to want to bring you down.
People want to take you down, yeah. And this is very significant to biblical prophecy. If this ends up being China, if we get into World War III, as everyone thinks that we're headed into, and some people think we're already in it, if we get into full-fledged World War III and China's involved, it's almost certainly going to end with the sixth trumpet.
Yeah.
So it's very significant in biblical prophecy if that's the case. So the WHO, the WHO, preparing for
Where did you
nuclear
get this one?
war. What do you mean? Where'd I get it?
Well, I missed this one.
Oh, this was yesterday, I think.
Oh, he worked on Saturday?
And the WHO preparing for nuclear war in Iran. Really?
Wow.
Nuclear war in Iran?
What's going on?
Yeah, that would certainly escalate things.
I have to watch that one. I missed it.
And then Putin, of course, telling Tehran, Russia stands by Iran. You know, this is both China and Russia always stick up for Iran every time. And so, you know, this is just, you know, I can see this going into war.
I know.
And China literally being obliterated, and Putin, you know, in the aftermath of the war, the Antichrist stands up, and of course Putin will join with him, you know, along with the other Islamic nations, and you know, Great Britain and Germany, and you know, I could just see all this rolling right into that end time.
Didn't Germany say that they were ready to go with the UK to fight? I mean, to help us with
I've got that coming up in an article. A bunch of the 21 nations have agreed to help.
Hello.
So Jerusalem shock. I mean, this is
Jerusalem.
People think the war is over, and they think that Iran is decimated, but Iran's just wiping. They're firing rocket after rocket after rocket. They've injured hundreds of Israelis in the last few days. I mean, lots of, and then this is a missile impact near the Western Wall
of the Temple Mount.
I mean, in Jerusalem.
Well, the Bible says that Jerusalem will not be destroyed, and they have
That's why it hasn't been destroyed. They keep throwing bombs.
And if the temple's going to get rebuilt, that Temple Mount will not go away.
Yeah. And the Bible doesn't specifically say Jerusalem will never be destroyed, but
what? Really?
The Bible does say that when the Antichrist is bringing the armies down to wipe out Israel, that's when Christ will finish his descent. And,
so where do we get Jerusalem?
And God put his name in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And we know that Jerusalem will exist because that's where Jesus is going to rule from.
Okay, so they will exist.
So it doesn't specifically say those words, but we can infer from the fact that Jesus will rule from there that it will not be destroyed, plus the fact that God put his name there, plus the fact that God is going to stop the Antichrist when he's finally coming to wipe out Israel. Yeah.
So basically,
doesn't it just seem really weird that they're throwing bombs near the Western Wall?
I know. But if they're going to rebuild the temple, it has to continue to exist. The Temple Mount?
Well,
where are they going to?
If they were to blow up the mosque, that would just turn all of the Arab nations against Iran big time, because you know the Sunni Muslims worship in that mosque, and if the Shiite Muslims from Iran were to destroy that, the rest of the Sunni Muslims would probably join us in the war and go and wipe them out big time. Yeah.
There's World War III for you.
There you go. Or the confirmation of the covenant, because they'll be like, we want this, we need peace.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And to force the peace. Yeah. Which, you know, I believe when Jesus said, when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, know that the desolation is nigh. That means there's going to be an international force in and around Jerusalem forcing the peace.
They're talking about it, but nothing's happening yet.
I know.
And that's what I always talk about.
Happen yet.
You know, when you look at biblical prophecy and you look at timelines and you think things are just so imminent and it just doesn't happen.
I think somebody was over there.
What?
Do we need to say hello to? Oh, is that you?
Dave
good evening.
Hey, homie, I can share your stream and kick community. Oh, this is just a spam.
Oh, okay.
This is from you can. I can pay you.
Okay.
To no thanks. Ban. Bye bye.
Okay, homie.
Yeah. So
I would have never guessed you as being a homie.
So so anyway, we're watching for this. I mean, literally the confirmation of the covenant just seems around the corner, but then it has for the last 15 years. So you know, it's going to come and it will happen, but we just have to be patient.
Oh.
4 killed as Iranian missiles strike Israel.
Mhm.
Although U.S. and joint Israeli strikes have diminished Iran's ability through the Middle East, the U.S. intelligence community says the Shiite Islamic regime's power structure remains intact.
Oh.
They're still a regime. They're still in power, and they're still lobbing missiles constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So nearly 100 Israelis wounded in a strike on Arad. I'm not really sure what that is. But yeah, there's massive missile
There's a
strikes
lot of
going on.
Israelis that are dying.
Yeah, there's still massive attacks. And you know, when you say there's people that are saying that this was so unprovoked, but what did Iran do like a year ago? They fired thousands of missiles at Israel to just obliterate Israel.
I know.
You know, they've been constantly
Death to
attacking
Israel,
and
death to
attacking,
America.
attacking. This is not something that's unprovoked by any stretch.
Right.
Iranian cluster bomb hits a kindergarten in central Israel. You know, these are the kinds of atrocities that Iran is doing.
Like
you know?
war
I think
crimes.
China is going to give another country cluster bombs.
China is?
China, I think that's what they said on the news today.
Well, Russia supposedly has been supplying cluster bombs to Iran that they're using.
So
And
maybe
you know,
It's a war
we have to
crime.
remember that cluster bombs are considered a war crime. They're an illegal weapon, and they're using them.
Most countries have made them illegal to use during war because
they kill
they're
so many people.
horrendous bombs. They're just like they
Yeah,
hit and then they
If you
scatter.
think of what it is, it just explodes out, and then more bombs blow up.
Just like branches out.
Yeah, it's a bad weapon.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
wow.
And then here's what you were waiting for.
Yeah.
Iran warns Gulf energy sites to evacuate after a gas facility was hit.
Why am
So
I
this is not what you were waiting for. Sorry.
No.
We're getting there.
okay.
But there's this whole thing going on with the island now, and the gas facilities. You know, Iran is targeting gas facilities to create more havoc with the gas supply in the world. They're literally attacking gasoline facilities in other nations in order to cause more difficulties with gasoline, and trying to create havoc with the world economy. And that's, you know, they're warning Gulf energy sites to evacuate because we're going to hit you, is what they're saying, right? Iran intensified attacks on Gulf Arab energy infrastructure, hitting a Saudi Arabia refinery, a Qatari liquefied natural gas facility, to Kuwait oil refineries. I mean, this is what they're doing. They're just like, we're gonna destroy the world economy until you stop, you know.
Yeah. They don't even care if they go down. They don't even care about their own people.
Well, and remember, Iran, the Shiite Muslims are typically like go along with the 12 prophecies of Islam, where the 12th Imam is supposedly alive and well, hiding in a well.
Yeah.
And when world chaos happens, that will bring the Mahdi out of the well.
Like a demon.
And so they want World War III. They want this chaos. They want this to happen.
And that alone, maybe people need to realize what that religion is. That their Mahdi, is that what it is? No, he's an imam.
Well, the Imam Mahdi is what they will call him. Yes. Imam Mahdi.
Wants chaos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what Satan wants, chaos.
Yes,
Exactly.
Satan loves
Confusion.
chaos.
exactly.
doesn't want
Saudis warn of
peace.
oil going to $180, which would,
$7.
it's already higher than that in California, but across the nation, it could go to like $7 if this continues.
like
And,
here, where it's it's
three
not
something.
It's not. It was 388
Yeah,
today.
yeah. So, but we were below $3 a gallon before the war.
A little bit. It's
Yeah.
gone up $1.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Iranian gas.
We got below $2.
Below $2?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
not ours. We stayed at
Yeah, we
about
were still
like
close to $3.
269, 289. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, ours in Central Florida did not go down that much.
But what Trump's doing is he's going to use Venezuelan oil, and he's also working on Russia, a plan with Russia to have Russia sell us oil and trying to alleviate this problem.
They lifted the sanctions.
Right. They lifted all the sanctions on Iranian oil and Russian oil. Yes.
Yeah.
To try to get this problem taken care of.
Mhm.
Just some verbiage on what's going on. Trump eyes the Cargill to seize it. Actually talking about occupying it.
Well, yeah, because they're going to police it.
Yeah.
To make sure that the Hormuz is open so that ships can get through.
Well, and they don't want Iran being able to do anything.
Yeah.
So they're he wants to save that oil so that he can then distribute it to the world, right? He doesn't want to destroy it. Right. Because, it's a huge deal right now across the world with the economy. When oil is scarce and all this happens, it goes to not just gasoline at the pumps, but then food,
energy,
plastics. I mean, all the stuff that's made by
your
gasoline,
light bill is going to go up.
Everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's working on that. The battle to reopen the Strait of Hormuz begins with U.S. airstrikes, allies deploying Apaches. And here's what, Europe backs the U.S. with the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
Starmer in the UK is leading this. There's like 20 some nations that have agreed to now.
Trump, France.
Yeah, there's several nations of Europe which are now going to back the U.S.
Because at first they were just like, we're not doing that. We're not getting involved in Trump's war. And now look, Trump's like, we don't need them. And now look, I'm happy because
well, we need that strait open.
We need we need the strait
open. This needs to end. Because
it's going to be you're going to go to the grocery store, everything's going to be higher again. It's going to be in major inflation.
Well, and
things are getting higher.
The regime in Iran is an evil, wicked, horrible regime.
If they're gonna
that's evil it's like this evil blight on the world.
Yeah.
And it needs to go away. I'd like to see the crown prince come back and take over, fine. But what they're doing has to stop. They want world chaos. They're using every card in the deck that they've got. Remember when this war started, I was saying the same thing, that this is what Iran can do, and they're doing it right now. They're blocking Hormuz, which is causing chaos across the world.
Even if they have to suffer, they don't care. If their own people have to suffer, they don't care.
So who is it in Iran that's causing this problem?
Well, they took out the top level of the regime, and then they took out the second level that was planning on taking over. But there's, you got to know, there's multiple layers.
Yeah.
And there's
always
just the next guy in line is now the top. And there's still a regime. They're still very active.
Oh.
Well, somebody's
So-
giving the orders, and they're
Yeah.
firing like crazy at
Yeah.
Israel.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, boy, the citizens can't take over their government. There's nothing they can do.
Well, if
because
they
they
were
don't need
trying to
weapons.
take over the government, it'd probably be
Yeah.
okay and settle
but
down.
Well,
remember-
they can't because they're not the ones with the weapons.
No.
Right. They don't have
can't.
any weapons. And
Yeah.
that's what Trump was trying to help them. But Iran wiped out, remember, 80,000 is the true number, the real number of how many
Wow.
Iranians were
Yes,
slaughtered by
they
the
said
regime.
half that.
80,000
Yeah.
they wiped out. Yeah, I mean, evil people
Mhm.
doing this. Japan, ready? European
Oh, look
nations
at
and
that,
Japan, Britain,
Japan.
France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Japan.
Netherlands.
Last I heard was there was 20 some nations that were ready.
Yeah, the
Wow.
Japanese. Who was that Japanese woman that was at the White House?
Their president,
Yeah.
prime
Not
minister.
Yeah, the prime
president,
minister
prime
was there.
minister.
And you remember, did you
The
hear about the joke? Not a joke, but a
Yes.
statement that Trump made.
Talk
because
about surprises.
The Japanese premier or prime minister was there, and there was
Yeah.
a Japanese reporter that asked Trump why he didn't tell the world
Give them
about
notice.
give them notice about the attack on Iran,
They
and he
didn't,
said,
they didn't give us notice.
yeah, he said, why didn't you tell us about Pearl Harbor? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you give us
They
any
should
notice
know.
of Pearl Harbor.
and he said, "Ask
mean-
Japan."
Yeah.
But
I mean,
she did say that he's her buddy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think anybody took offense at that. I mean, it's just a
No, I don't
fact,
think
right?
so either.
It's just a fact.
Japan-
And that was her ancestor.
Well, we were
or
busy
that was
helping
her-
Europe defend against Germany. Japan attacked from behind in a surprise attack and wiped out.
But
so
that
many
was
Americans.
probably her grandfather,
Right.
right?
Right.
It
Yeah.
wasn't
So,
her.
and to announce to the world that you're going to attack when surprise is an element that will help you to succeed.
And that's
Why
what he
would you
was
do
saying.
so? Yeah.
That surprise is all a part of.
Yeah.
and yeah, they destroyed a lot of our ships.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
They
then
threatened to shut down. Well,
and
we'll
then-
see about that.
So they're threatening to shut the entire strait down because remember they were saying, well, we'll let some countries through if you're
Yeah.
not an ally of the U.S. And then, but so
Yeah.
now they're moving to just shut it entirely down. And Trump has given them a 48-hour ultimatum.
We'll see about that.
Well,
Trump's 48
so
hours
far-
means 3 weeks.
So far, his deadlines don't seem to.
No.
Yeah.
They don't hold water.
I wonder if they're going to fall for it again.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
been 6 weeks, but we're telling you 2 more days.
But
and they'll
he's
probably
talking
fall
about-
for it again.
Yeah. And if they bring enough, if we get enough help and get enough countries involved in policing it, then it could be
They-
successful.
Yeah,
right?
it could be. We need help
Yeah.
to keep it open. And this isn't just for the United States. Our president cares about the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So he wants
He's trying to
all
change the
other
world.
countries to have
Right.
access.
He's trying to improve the world economy, is what he's trying to
Yes.
do. Yeah. Yeah.
And if America is fine, the other countries will be fine.
So, cyber group loyal to Al Qaeda announces the launch of cyber jihad targeting governments worldwide.
Now, what is that? What's
Well,
cyber?
cyber jihad is hacking.
Oh,
Yeah.
cyber group.
So this was just announced. So we'll see if anything comes of it.
That's why I'm saying I'm just wondering when it's gonna be that I need to get rid of my cell phone and go with the landline and answering machine.
Yeah, I know.
Go for it if
Yeah.
you can find one.
Yeah.
People
Well, you can
use
still get landlines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Jerry has one.
Yeah. He does. Yeah.
And an
But-
answering machine.
But this would
Weirdo.
all, if cyber jihad, if they are able to actually do anything, they could potentially shut down, infrastructure in the United States,
Sure can.
Yeah.
which would be devastating.
What about the
Yeah.
sleeper cells, y'all? We got to remember
I
There
that.
know
are
supposedly those
scammers
were
out
activated.
there.
So
There are scammers out there that are just wreaking
Oh,
havoc
yeah.
on people.
I know. I'm sure they're
There's
going nuts right
warnings
now.
out there and everything on things not to do if
Yeah.
you get a call like this or
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Oh,
Don't answer your phone unless you know who it is.
Mhm.
Don't reply or click on anything in an email unless you know what it is
Yeah.
specifically.
I remember when
Yeah.
Dad was doing that. He would always get viruses on his
I know.
computer.
I was always having to clean his computer of
He was all-
viruses.
He says,
'Cause he would
"Well, I
just
don't
click
know.
on
Some
stuff."
girl is trying to get a hold of me," and he would
Oh man.
click it. He
Yeah.
was getting like a virus like 3 times a week,
Yeah,
probably.
it was crazy. But why the jihad in America is heating up? Well, I'll tell you why.
Because we're letting them in.
25 million came across our border during the Biden regime. 25
And they're
million.
all building mosques.
And they're all here building mosques. Yeah.
Yeah. And having lots of children.
And getting ready to do jihad attacks. Yeah. Because that's how they use fear to get people to cave.
mhm.
That's their motive. That's their MO. Here's another one about the Israeli start near the Israeli Nuclear Research Center, which is supposed to be a super secret site. But it doesn't seem like it's that super secret to me.
Super secret.
But they're continuing to pummel Israel with strikes. So it's definitely not over. Senior advisor to UAE president, Iran's attacks on Gulf Arab states pushes them closer to Israel.
Ooh.
Mm.
Confirmation of the covenant coming.
I know.
I see here. Yeah, definitely see that coming.
Come on, y'all.
And then this is just a joke. He deplores the atrocious violence in the Middle East. So does this have anything to do with Iran's attacks? Iran's slaughtering 80,000 of their own people?
How
or anything?
about at least 2 assassination attempts on our president?
Yeah.
Let's
But
just
he's not
think about
talking
that,
about any of that. He's
Yeah.
talking about America and Israel taking out the regime. He doesn't care about the tens of thousands of people that Iran has slaughtered mercilessly,
in
and
their
all
own
of
country.
the jihad
Yeah.
attacks that they have put on all over the world. He doesn't care about any of that. This is an evil man
Yeah.
right there.
They just replace evil. with
He's
evil.
doing exactly the same thing Francis did.
Oh yeah.
And I
Yeah.
would bet you that he thinks he's the final pope.
He could be.
He's probably
And he's
making
only
plans with the
70.
Antichrist right now. Yeah,
Oh.
I would bet you that they know each other.
Oh, I bet they do.
Whoa.
But,
Yeah.
That is wild.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
London mayor. We've shown during this month of Ramadan the power of being a Muslim, the joy of being British. Wait, what?
Muslims are not.
British?
Well,
British?
yeah, they could be British.
British?
Muslims can be British.
Well, sure, but what's he saying?
He's saying we've taken over England.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly. He's saying London is Muslim now. That's what he's saying.
Y'all can keep going to London if you want. There's
Yeah.
so many people still going over to Europe. Have fun.
Yeah.
Good
Thank
luck.
you. Fairly
I won't
soon,
go.
being British and being Muslim will be essentially synonymous, right?
Yeah.
They will.
Yeah.
Sadiq Khan.
Yeah, he's
Sadiq.
the mayor of London. Yeah.
I don't want it to get to the point where they start saying that about New York.
Yeah, soon
Or
enough.
Michigan or Texas.
Yeah.
'Cause that's really
Or Minnesota.
Or
that's
Minnesota.
scary.
Yeah.
That is
But
very scary.
mostly New York City.
Yeah. So think about this.
Oh, sorry.
Islam is supposed to be this religion of peace. So they're trying to
Yeah,
convince us
when?
of, right? So, but Ramadan is ending. And here's the death toll. The death toll from jihad attacks during Ramadan. 499 people have been murdered during the month of Ramadan by Muslims
Where?
all over the world,
Oh.
worldwide. Yeah. Yeah, praying
Nice,
and
peaceful
fasting to
religion.
bomb a rogue state that threatens the U.S. and its allies. Right? No. Terrible insult. No. The reality is that this is the most violent religion that's ever existed because it's Satan's religion.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Joy Reid says the U.S.
Oh.
oppresses women even more than the Islamic Republic of Iran. Is that the? This is insanity.
Well, they are
This is
insane. Remember, they're
insane.
insane. They're delusional. They're
This is
Then
delusional.
move her behind to Iran where it's better.
I know. Why
I
don't
think
you move
she
there?
should. I know all
Yeah.
these people who are pumping up Islam and not moving to an Islam.
Yeah, go
Country?
ahead. Move to Iran. Why don't you?
It's easy to say
And
that when
then
you're
tell
in a
me
free
that now.
nation.
And you know it's
Very-
you know what the
Well,
whole
we don't
problem
want
is?
to oppress her, so she might as well just get out of here because we're such terrible people.
Yeah.
And you know what she's saying is so oppressive is the restrictions on abortion rights. So we
Well,
should
she
be able
supports
to
murder.
we should be able to
innocent
murder
people.
babies and not feel guilty about it.
So
and
we
not-
shouldn't go to the baby's
They
side.
don't-
We should go take her side.
No. That's just I had to show that because that's just the insanity. And then think about this. So, here's the Matrix Awakens Unreal Engine, right? Elon Musk talking about, I had dinner once with a top physicist and a top computer scientist and asked what they thought was the probability was that we were in a simulation. The answer simultaneously at 0%, the physicist, and 100% the computer scientist. And the only reason I'm showing this to you is because people think we are in a matrix. They think we are in a simulation.
Yeah.
And here's what I have to say about that. We are. We're in this limited 5 senses stuck on this planet simulation that God created.
Yes.
Mhm.
He created the entire universe to show us his power and majesty, but he's got us on this planet in this environment as a test.
Yeah.
This is a proving ground to find who will love the Lord. It absolutely is like the Matrix. This is something that I've talked about over the years, right? Where it's like the Matrix. Because God has put us here. We only have 5 senses. We can't leave this planet. We're here in this testing proving ground. Once it's over and we're in new glorified bodies, what do you want to bet that we're going to have more than 5 senses? That we're going to, and when Jesus returns, rules for 1,000 years and then recreates all of heaven and earth, the entire universe is going to be our playground forever. Oh, I can't wait. Yeah. So, the Matrix, sure. Not in the way you're thinking, but yeah.
Oh,
So
this is mine.
This is one I stole. And this is just a really good one.
Yeah, that's
Don't
good.
think of Satan as a harmless cartoon character with a red suit and a pitchfork. He's a very clever and very powerful fallen angel. And his unchanging purpose is to defeat God's plans at every turn, including God's plans for your life. He wants to kill you. He's not playing. You can't wish the demons away. The only way to overcome is by the blood of Jesus.
Right.
Confess, repent, and renounce Satan's kingdom. Stay obedient and live holy in word, thought, and action. Yeah. Satan is a very powerful fallen angel, not a little harmless cartoon character.
Mm-hmm.
And he has almost complete control of this world right now.
I know. He's taking
Through
a
the
lot of
secret
people
society.
with him.
Yeah. So, another meme. Deliver me, O Lord, from that evil man, myself.
Did I have this? I don't think.
No, I didn't steal it from you. I stole it from someone else. But this is the prayer of a true, humble,
I
repentant
know.
Christian. Understanding that we are why Jesus had to die.
Mm-hmm.
And I pray that all the time. You know, deliver me from myself, Lord. Create in me a clean heart. Renew a right spirit in me.
Mm.
My Lord and my God. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, we're going to end early today. But thank you all for being here with us. We love every one of you and all who watch later. We love you. And we're just glad you're with us. So let me pray real quick and we'll say goodbye. Thank you, Jesus, for everything, for all you've done, all you're doing, and all you're about to do, Lord. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. I don't know if everybody's there or not. Roger,
Couple people
when the
left.
sun goes down, and Lainey and Jody. If anybody is left still, thank you so much for being here.
Well, there's still people watching.
I'm talking about the
we've
people
got
in the chat.
The people in the chat, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was talking
They're
about.
pretty much have
Jody.
said goodbye already. So.
Thank you so much for being there, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we love
Thank
you
you.
all. And
Yes.
don't forget to smash that like button.
I know, I'm waiting.
Oh,
I just want to make sure you're done talking.
no, I'm done talking.
Give it a big thumbs up. All right. Jody, I'm here. Except for you, Jody. Jody, you're always here. But make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the
Smash that
channel
like
on
button.
YouTube. Follow us on Rumble. Go to videos.prophecyoftruth.com, right? Videos.prophecyoftruth.com. Make sure you share a video. With everybody, literally everybody you've ever known in your life, your neighbors, you know, the neighbor that you've been wanting to talk to about God. Oh, Sheena. Hi, Sheena.
Sheena, welcome.
She said, thank you.
And
Thank
you're
you
very
for being
welcome.
here. We really appreciate that. We love you too, Jody. And then make sure you turn on the notification bell so you do not miss any great uploads because they're always going up. Always. You could go to the library. Okay, there's a banner at the bottom. And somebody already said, I think it was when the sun goes down, said he was going to send an email to Dan. And I'm sure it's to talk to him about something. Feel free to do that. If you have any questions, ask. Don't just say, well, I disagree with this. I disagree with that. That is perfectly fine. But
have a chat with me.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
There's always conversations. He's always telling me that somebody contacted me from the website.
Pretty much every day I'm talking to people.
Questions. So feel free to do that because maybe you have questions that you would really. I've had people on my bike route that said, I have questions. And I'm like, well, contact Dan the man. Okay. Or if you might have a prayer request. You can send
shoot me an email. Make a comment on one of our channels, you know.
Or if you're on Godly Woman, Godly Wife, send me a message and say, I have a prayer request, which has been done several times. Anyway, so thank you for being here.
Yeah. God bless you all. And we will be back on Wednesday. Love you, Diane.
It's Monday already.
Thank you for being here as always.
Yeah.
Love you.
Thank you.
We love you so much.
Love you.
I love you.
All right. Bye, everybody. We'll see you Wednesday.
All right,
God bless you.
bye.